Good morning, students. I welcome you all, 11th standard commerce students, for this economic online class. In the last class, we have seen the introduction of economics. Now, let us get into the lessons. Let us now go to chapter 7, Indian economy. India will be a global player in the digital economy. India will be a global player in the digital economy, told by Sundar Pichai, CEO, Google. Do you know him? Yes, Pichai Sundarajan, known as Sundar Pichai, is an Indian American business executive. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Alphabet and Google LLC. Born in Madurai, Tamil Nadu, Pichai earned his degree from the Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, in metallurgical engineering. Learning objectives of this lesson. What you will be learning in this lesson? You will be understanding the current status of the Indian economy in terms of features, natural resources, infrastructure facilities, and so on. You will also understand the contributions of major Indian economic thinkers. So about all these you will be seeing in this lesson. Meaning of growth and development. You should first of all know what do you mean by growth and what do you mean by development. Economic growth means an increase in real national income or national output. Economic growth means an increase in real national income, that is our nation's income, or our national output. A country's economic growth is usually measured by national income, indicated by gross domestic product, GDP. What is GDP? The GDP is the total monetary value of all the goods and services produced by that country over a specific period of time, usually 1 year. So our country's growth is measured by national income, that is indicated by GDP, gross domestic product. What is GDP? It is the total value of all the goods and services produced in our country in one particular year. Next concept, development. What is development? Economic development means an improvement in the quality of life and living standard of the people. Economic development means an improvement in the quality of life and living standard of the people. Example, measures of literacy, life expectancy, and healthcare. So the level of economic development is indicated not just by GDP but by an increase in citizens' quality life or well-being. The quality of life is being assessed, that is checked by several indicators such as Human Development Index HDI, Physical Quality of Life Index PQLI, and Gross National Happiness Index GNHI. So these are the difference between growth and development. Growth means an economic growth. Development means improvement in the welfare of the people. The quality of life is being assessed by several indices such as HDI, PQLI and GNHI. We will be learning about all these in detail in the oncoming lessons. Now let us see one of the index, Gross National Happiness Index. The term gross national happiness was coined by the fourth king of Bhutan, Jigme Singye Wangchuk, in 1972. It is an indicator of progress which measures sustainable development, environmental conservation, promotion of culture and good governance. So this index was coined by Bhutan king in the year 1972. It is an indicator of progress which measures four concepts: sustainable development, environmental conservation, promotion of culture and good governance. What do you mean by sustainable development? It meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future. That is called sustainable development, meeting the present needs without compromising the future. Next, environmental conservation, practice of us, that is humans, to save the environment from collapsing. That is called as environmental conservation. Promotion of culture, it stimulates the work of people in the field of culture through scholarships, declarations, awards that lead to the promotion of diverse culture. And the last one, good governance, ruling the country properly. On the basis of the level of economic development, nations are classified as, that is countries are classified as developed and developing economies. Let us now see the difference between the two. See the chart given: developed economies, underdeveloped economies. What are their features? Developed economies, countries are industrialized, that is presence of more industries. Underdeveloped countries are not industrialized, more industries are not present. Efficient utilization of resources like land, mines, workers, etc. All the resources are properly utilized in the developed economies, whereas in underdeveloped economies the resources are not fully utilized to bring into use. Then high per capita income in developed economies. Per capita income, the income earned by one single individual is called as a per capita income. In developed economies, the per capita income is high, whereas in the underdeveloped economies, the per capita income is low. Some of the examples for developed economies are USA, Canada, UK, France and Japan. Examples for underdeveloped economies are Africa, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Pakistan, Indonesia, etc. It is also termed as advanced countries. It is also termed as underdeveloped countries or backward nations or third world nations. So India name is not present in the developed economies list nor in the underdeveloped economies list, because India is neither a developed country nor an underdeveloped country. It is a developing country. Features of a developed economy. See one by one how the developed economy will be. High national income, high per capita income, high standard of living, full employment of resources, dominance of industrial sector, that is number of industries will be more, high level of technology, high industrialization, high consumption level, people's ability to consume will be more, high level of urbanization, presence of towns will be more, Smooth economic growth, there will be always an economic growth in the economy. Social equity, gender equality, and low levels of poverty. Social equity will be there, that is there will not be much difference between the rich and the poor. Gender equality, male and female ratios will be equal, and the poverty level will be very less. Then political stability, there will not be often changes in the government, and also a very good governance by the properly selected and elected people. Let us now see our own economy, Indian economy. Indian economy is the 7th largest economy of the world. You can even see the graph given by this side. See, the topmost country is United States, and India is ranking in the 7th position. In terms of industrialization and economic growth, India holds a robust position, that is strong position, with an average growth rate of 7%. Every year we can see an average improvement of nearly 7% growth rate. Even though the rate of growth rate has been sustainable and comparatively stable, there are still signs of backwardness. So even though we are growing at a rate of 7% every year, we cannot enter into the developed economy. We are struggling. Let us see what are all the obstacles that is stopping us from the development. Features of Indian economy. First one, India has a mixed economy. You have learnt about this in your 10th standard. What is mixed economy? Yes, coexistence of both the public and the private sector. Yes, listen. Indian economy is a mixed economy. Yes, it's a well-known fact. This means both private sector and public sectors coexist, join together and function smoothly. One side, some of the fundamental and heavy industrial units are being operated under the public sector. So one side, many companies are being operated under the control of the government, while on the other hand, due to the policy of liberalization of the economy, the private sector has gained importance. Private sector also has equally operating the industries. So one side, public sector is operating the industry, other side, private sector also operating the industries due to our policy of liberalization. So this makes it a perfect model for public-private partnership. This proves that India is a mixed economy where both the public and the private sector coexist and function smoothly. Next feature, agriculture plays the key role. Agriculture being the maximum per used occupation in India, it plays an important role in its economy as well. So the backbone of Indian occupation is agriculture. It plays a very important role in the Indian economy. 60% of the people in India depends upon agriculture for their livelihood even today. About 17% of our GDP today is contributed by the agricultural sector. If you take our India's national income, 17% of our GDP is being contributed by the agricultural sector. Green revolution, evergreen revolution, and inventions in biotechnology have made agriculture self-sufficient and also surplus production. So Indian government has introduced Green Revolution program. Yes, I hope you know about this. Last year you have learnt. That is production of more and more agricultural goods. Evergreen revolution and invention in biotechnology have made agriculture self-sufficient. Once we were not able to produce food for our country, and India was importing food grains from the other countries, and it will take a lots of time to reach India. But now today our situation is we are self-sufficient in agriculture. We are able to produce food grains for the entire population of India. At the same time, we are also able to export it to the other countries. Such a marvelous growth in the field of agriculture. Next, the export of agriculture products such as fruits, vegetables, spices, vegetable oils, tobacco, animal skin, etc. are all exported to foreign countries and add to forex earning, that is foreign exchange earning, through international trading. Next feature, an emerging market, coming up market, rising market. So India has emerged, came up, rised as a vibrant economy, strong economy, sustaining, maintaining stable GDP growth rate even in the midst of the global downtrend. Even when there is a downward tendency in the global level, India was able to maintain a sustainable development. So this has attracted significant foreign capitals or foreign countries to come and invest in India through FDI and FII. FDI, foreign direct investment, and FII, foreign institutional investor. India has a high potential for prospective growth. Yes, India will become a very high developed economy very soon. It has got a high potential. This also makes it an emerging market for the world. Because of all this, India is emerging as a global market. Next feature, emerging economy. Emerging as a top economic giant among the world economy, India backs the 7th position in terms of nominal gross domestic product and 3rd in terms of purchasing power parity. So India is growing at a top economic giant among the world economy. So it occupied the position, 7th position in terms of in GDP and 3rd position in the PPP, that is purchasing power parity. So as a result of rapid economic growth, Indian economy has a place among the G20 countries. So India is also one of the member of the G20 countries. What do you mean by this G20 countries? So this G20 is an international forum for the governments and the central bank governors from 19 countries and the European Union. So membership of G20 consists of 19 individual countries plus the European Union. It was formed on 26 September 1999. See the member countries of G20. So they have given separately developed countries and emerging country. We can see India in the list of emerging countries. Next feature, fast growing economy. India's economy is well known for high and sustained growth. This Indian economy is growing at a high speed with a sustained growth level. It has emerged, came up as the world's fastest growing economy in the year 2016-17. So in 2016-17, India was emerged as, or India was mentioned as the, or awarded as the world's fastest growing economy with the growth rate of 7.1% in GDP, next to People's Republic of China. Next feature, fast growing service sector, the next feature of Indian economy. The service sector, that is tertiary sector, contributes a lion's share, that is greater share of the GDP in India. There has been a high rise growth in the technical sectors like IT, information technology, BPO, etc. These sectors have contributed to the growth of the economy. These sectors, that is service sector, has contributed to the growth of economy to the greater level. The service sectors have helped the country go global and helped in spreading its branches around the world. So this sector helped the country globally and helped in spreading its branches around the world. Next feature, large domestic consumption, that is consuming, purchasing. With the faster growth rate in the economy, the standard of living has improved a lot. So as the economy is growing, the people also is growing. So the standard of living of the people improved. So this in turn has resulted in a rapid increase in domestic consumption in the country. If the standard of living of the people increases, automatically their income also will increase. If their income increases, their purchasing power also will increase, that is consumption will be more. The standard of living has considerably improved the lifestyle and it has changed the welfare of the people. Next one, rapid growth of urban areas, town areas. Urbanization is a key ingredient of the growth of any economy. Urbanization, changing the rural areas into urban areas, is called as the urbanization. It is a key ingredient, a very important ingredient for the growth of any economy. There has been a rapid growth of urban areas in India after independence. So transport and communication, education and health have speeded up the pace of urbanization. As urbanization has become the one of the important feature of India, automatically the transport and communication, education and health also speeded up in the urban areas. Next feature, stable macro economy. The Indian economy has been projected and considered as one of the most stable economies of the world. So our Indian economy is a stable economy. The current year's economic survey represents the Indian economy to be a heaven of macroeconomic stability, resilience and optimism. So the current year's economic survey has taken, in that they have mentioned Indian economy has heaven of macroeconomic stability, resilience and optimism. What do you mean by macroeconomic stability? It describes a national economy that has minimized vulnerability to external shocks, which in turn increases its prospects for sustained growth. What's the meaning of resilience? The capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. Optimism, the feeling that the future will be good or successful. So India has all these three qualities. That is why economic survey represented Indian economy as the heaven of macroeconomic stability, resilience and optimism. According to the economic survey for the year 2014-15, 8% plus GDP growth rate has been predicted, with actual growth turning out to be a little less, 7.6%. This is a clear indication of a stable macroeconomic growth. So according to the economic survey which was made in the year 2014-15, India's growth rate is 8%, with actual growth turning out to be a little less than 7.6%. So it is always maintaining a stability from 7 to 8%. So this is a clear indication of a stable macroeconomic growth. Last feature of Indian economy, demographic dividend. The human capital of India is young. That means most of the people living in India are youth. This means that India is a pride owner of the maximum percentage of youth. So there is a well saying that whichever country has more youth population, that country will very soon develop. So the young population is not only motivated but skilled and trained enough to maximize the economic growth. Thus, human capital plays a key role in maximizing the growth prospects in the country. This has invited foreign investments to the country and outsourcing opportunities too. Yes, most of the people living in India are youth, young people. So, the young population is not only motivated but skilled and trained enough to maximize the growth. This concept invites most of our foreign investments to the country and also the outsourcing opportunities too. Previous topic we saw about the features of Indian economy. Let us now see the weakness of Indian economy. Why India is not able to develop? Let us see the reasons for it. First one, large population. Yes, India stands second in terms of size of population next to China, and our country is likely to overtake China in near future. Yes, the two most populous country in the world is China first and India second. So very soon we will overtake China and we stand first in terms of population. Population growth rate of India is very high and this is always a hurdle to growth rate. So our growth rate of population is very high and it is acting as a hurdle for our country to grow. The population growth rate in India is as high as 1.7 per thousand. For every 1,000 population, the growth rate is increasing by 1.7 every day. The annual addition of population equals the total population of Australia. See, the annual addition of population made every year is only the total population of Australia. Imagine what is the population of India and what is the population of Australia. If our population is going to be like this, then it will be a great question mark for our development. Next weakness is inequality and poverty. So there exists a huge economic disparity in the Indian economy. That is, the gap between the rich and the poor is more. Percentage of poor is high, whereas the percentage of rich is less. The proportion of income and asset owned by top 10% of Indians goes on increasing. So the top 10% of Indians are rich people. So every year, every day, every minute, their income and assets are keep on increasing, whereas the remaining 90% of the people are still suffering. This has led to an increase in the poverty level in the society, and still a higher percentage of individuals are living below poverty line. That is, we can divide the entire population of India as rich people, medium level people and the low level income people. Most of the people, most percentage of the higher percentage of individuals are living below the poverty line. That is, they are unable to eat even a per meal per day. Such type of people we can see in India. As a result of unequal distribution of the rich becomes richer and the poor becomes poorer. As a result of this unequal distribution, what is happening in our country? The rich people is keep on becoming rich and the poor people is keep on becoming poor. So this is a great weakness for our Indian economy for the development. Next hurdle is increasing prices of essential goods. Yes, day by day if you go to the market, we can see the prices of the goods are keep on increasing. What price we bought for yesterday is not the same today, and it will not be going to be the same for tomorrow. Day by day it is keep on increasing. This is one of the weakness of Indian economy. Even though there has been a constant growth in the GDP and growth opportunities in the Indian economy, there have been a steady increase in the prices of essential goods. Yes, we can tell that every year our GDP is keep on increasing by 7% and India is marching towards development. It's okay, but even then, every day there is a steady increase in the prices of our essential goods. The continuous rise in price erodes the purchasing power and adversely affects the poor people whose income is not protected. If the prices keep on increasing, it is not a problem for the rich people because they are afford to pay at whatever the prices may be. But look at the condition of the poor people. If the prices keep on increasing, their purchasing power will become less and it will adversely affect them because their income is very, very less. Next weakness is weak infrastructure. There has been a gradual improvement in the infrastructural development in the past few decades. What is infrastructure? Roadways, railways, waterways, airways, transport, power, supply, everything all comes under the infrastructure. So the government is providing more infrastructure every year. There is a gradual improvement, but still there is a scarcity of the basic infrastructure like power, transport, storage, etc. That is, we can see all this infrastructure in the urban areas. That is nearly 30% of the population is being enjoying this, whereas remaining 70% are still they are living in villages and they are not afford to any of these infrastructure facilities. Inadequate employment generation. Yes, this is a greater problem that is still existing in India. With growing youth population, there is a huge need of the employment opportunities. Yes, India is blessed. Yes, we have to say India is blessed with a more amount of a more number of youth population. But what is the use? With growing youth population, there is a huge need of the employment opportunities. People are ready to work, but the government is not in a position to afford a very good job for them. The growth in production is not accompanied by a creation of a job. People are more, youth are more, but government is not able to provide a job for them. Most of the people are remaining unemployed and sitting idle at home. The Indian economy is characterized by jobless growth. Yes, our GDP is increasing every year, but the people are not provided with enough of job. Next weakness is outdated technology. The level of technology in agriculture and small scale industries is still outdated and obsolete. That is, we have not come to the new modern technology in the field of agriculture as well as in the small scale industry. So naturally our output will be very less when compared to the other developed countries. Yes students, let us now recapitulate the so far taken portions. Let me use bilingual for your clear understanding. Next we have seen the two important concepts, growth and development. What is economic growth and what is economic development? Economic growth usually measured by gross domestic product, and economic development is indicated not just by GDP but by an increase in citizens' quality life or well-being. ஒரு நாட்டின் எக்கனாமிக் growth என்பது பொதுவாக அந்நாட்டின் வருமானத்தால் அளவிடப்பட்டாலும் அது மொத்த உள்நாட்டு உற்பத்தியாலேயே குறிப்பிடப்படுகிறது. ஒரு நாட்டின் பொருளாதார முன்னேற்றம் என்பது அந்நாட்டு மக்களின் உயர்ந்த வாழ்க்கை தரம் அல்லது நல்வாழ்வையும் உள்ளடக்கியதாகும். This is the distinction between the growth and the development. Next we have seen the classifications of nation. Based on the level of economic development, the nations are classified into developed economies and underdeveloped economies. வளர்ச்சி மற்றும் முன்னேற்றத்தின் அடிப்படையிலேயே உலக நாடுகள் வளர்ந்த மற்றும் வளர்ந்து கொண்டிருக்கும் நாடுகள் என பிரிக்கப்படுகிறது. What are the features in developed economies? Features: countries are industrialized, proper utilization of all the resources. வளர்ந்த பொருளாதார நாடுகள் என்பது தொழில்மயமான வளங்கள் முழுவதுமாக பயன்படுத்தக்கூடிய நாடுகளை குறிக்கும். வளங்களை முழுமையாக பயன்படுத்தாமல் குறைந்த தலா வருவாய் கொண்ட நாடுகளை வளர்ந்து கொண்டிருக்கும் நாடுகள் என அழைக்கிறோம். Yes, we have seen the persons, if they receive low per capita income, the countries are called as underdeveloped economies. Example for developed economies, we can tell it as USA, Canada, UK and France. An example for underdeveloped economies are Africa, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Pakistan and Indonesia. Next we have seen about the Indian economy. Yes, it is the 7th largest economy of the world. The growth rate is 7%. Even then we have some backwardness. பெரிய பொருளாதார நாடுகளின் வரிசையில் இந்தியா 7வது இடத்தை பிடித்துள்ளது. இந்தியா 7% பொருளாதார வளர்ச்சியுடன் ஒரு வலுவான இடத்தை அடைந்துள்ளது. இருந்தாலும் பின்தங்கியிருப்பதற்கான சில காரணங்களும் உண்டு. We have also seen the features of Indian economy, that is strength of the Indian economy. India has a mixed economy. இந்தியாவில் தனியார் துறையும் பொதுத்துறையும் சேர்ந்து சீரிய முறையில் சிறப்பாக செயல்பட்டு வருகிறது. Agriculture plays the key role. இந்தியாவில் விவசாயம் பொருளாதாரத்தில் முக்கிய பங்கு வகிக்கிறது. 60% மக்கள் வேளாண்மை தொழிலையே சார்ந்து இருக்கிறார்கள். 17% மொத்த உள்நாட்டு உற்பத்தி வேளாண் துறையிலிருந்தே நமக்கு கிடைக்கிறது. An emerging market. முன்னேறி கொண்டிருக்கும் நாடுகளுக்கிடையே இந்தியாவின் மார்க்கெட் பிற நாடுகளுக்கு பல்வேறு வாய்ப்புகளை வழங்கி வருகிறது. எமர்ஜிங் எக்கானமி. இந்தியா ஜிடிபியில் 7வது இடத்தையும் பிபிபியில் 3வது இடத்தையும் பெற்றுள்ளது. ஃபாஸ்ட் க்ரோவிங் எக்கானமி. இந்தியாவின் பொருளாதாரம் வேகமாக வளர்ந்து கொண்டிருக்கிறது. ஃபாஸ்ட் க்ரோயிங் சர்வீஸ் செக்டார். சர்வீஸ் செக்டார் இந்தியாவுடைய பொருளாதாரத்தில் பெரும் பங்கு வகிக்கிறது. லார்ஜ் டொமஸ்டிக் கன்சம்ஷன். மக்கள் வாழ்க்கை தரம் உயர்ந்துள்ளதால் பொருட்கள் வாங்கும் திறனும் மக்களிடையே அதிகரித்துள்ளது. ரேபிட் growth ஆஃப் அர்பன் ஏரியாஸ். டவுன்ஷிப் பகுதிகள் விரைவான வளர்ச்சி பெற்று வருகிறது. ஸ்டேபிள் மேக்ரோ எக்கானமி. இந்தியாஸ் எக்கானமி இஸ் ஆல்வேஸ் ஸ்டேபிள், நிலையான. டெமோகிராஃபிக் டிவிடெண்ட், that is division of population, youth and old age population, ratio of the youth and old age population. Last we have seen the weakness of Indian economy. இந்தியன் எக்கானமியோட பலவீனத்தை நம்ம கடைசியாக பார்த்துருந்தோம். அது என்னென்னு பார்க்கலாம். லார்ஜ் பாப்புலேஷன். அதிக மக்கள் தொகை இந்திய பொருளாதார வளர்ச்சிக்கு பெரிதும் தடையாக உள்ளது. இன்இக்வாலிட்டி அண்ட் பாவர்ட்டி. பணக்காரர்கள் தொடர்ந்து பணக்காரர்களாகவும் ஏழைகள் தொடர்ந்து ஏழைகளாகவும் நீடிக்கின்றனர் நம் இந்தியாவில். இன்க்ரீசிங் ப்ரைஸஸ் ஆஃப் எசென்ஷியல் குட்ஸ். நம் நாட்டில் அத்தியாவசிய பொருட்களின் விலை தொடர்ந்து உயர்ந்து கொண்டிருப்பதால் ஏழை மக்களின் வாங்கும் சக்தி குறைகிறது. வீக் இன்ஃப்ராஸ்ட்ரக்சர். இன்றும் நம் நாட்டில் எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டி, டிரான்ஸ்போர்ட், குட் ஸ்டோரேஜ் இவற்றிலெல்லாம் பற்றாக்குறை இருந்து கொண்டுதான் இருக்கிறது. இன்அடிக்குவேட் எம்ப்ளாய்மெண்ட் ஜெனரேஷன். யூத் பாப்புலேஷனுக்கு தகுந்தாற்போல் வேலைவாய்ப்புகளை நம் இந்திய கவர்மெண்ட் உருவாக்கி தர வேண்டும். அவுட்டேட்டட் டெக்னாலஜி. இன்றும் நாம் அக்ரிகல்ச்சர் மற்றும் ஸ்மால் ஸ்கேல் இண்டஸ்ட்ரீஸில் ஓல்டு டெக்னாலஜியை தான் பின்பற்றி கொண்டிருக்கின்றோம். Students, this lesson is such a big lesson, so we have just seen only the part 1. The remaining portions will be seen in the part 2 in the next class. Thank you students. See you in next class.